Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'd like to show you how I made this card. I've seen this card several times on Pinterest and YouTube, and so I really don't know who to attribute this to, but I've changed it fairly substantially from the cards that I have seen. So let's just show you what it is I've done with this. This card has a belly band which comes off, and it says "You're the Greatest" on here, and then this opens up and it says "Happy Birthday" in here, and there's a place for you to write your birthday sentiment, and the card, you know, will stand, and so it is very pretty. Now I've made another version of this card. I'm going to just set this one aside and I'm going to show you the other version that I made of this as well. And this one I made a sympathy card. It says "with sympathy" on here, and then it unties rather than using a belly band, and the card opens up, and I've used more designer series paper on this one. And then my sentiment here says "always loved, never forgotten, forever missed." And I like about this card, I like the extra DSP. I didn't like that panel being open, but I think I like the belly band better. It's a cleaner close than this, and so we're going to make this one. So what we need to make this card is we need a base 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So this is 1/4 of a sheet of 8 1/2 by 11. And this is the thick whisper white. Since this is the base of the card, this is what we're going to need here. And I just felt better with a stronger piece of card. Then we need a piece of card that is 11 inches by 5 inches. Then we need, I used Blackberry Bliss, a piece that is 4 by 5 1/4. Then I have another piece of white for my belly band, and I'm making this belly band a little bit bigger than this one. So this is 1 1/4 by 9, yeah, by 9. And then I have 2 pieces of Blackberry Bliss, 4 1/8 by 1 1/8. So that's going to fit here and just leave a small border around. And I've done 2. I didn't like the fact that the back of that was naked, so I've done, I'm going to put a piece of Blackberry Bliss on the back side of the belly band as well. And then you need some scrap. Oh, let me tell you the designer series paper. And I'm continuing to use the same ones from the Wonderful Romance. And we need 2 pieces of 1 3/8 by 4 7/8. Then we need 1 piece that is 2 3/8 by 4 7/8. And then we need a 3 1/8 by 4 7/8. And then we need some scrap whisper white for our sentiment here, and some scrap DSP also for that. So let's just get started here. And the first thing we can do is, let me show you how to score this piece of white so that you know exactly what we're doing here. And we're going to score this piece of white at 1 1/2 inches, then at 3 inches, then at 5 1/2 inches, and then at 7 3/4 inches. Let me just check that. Yes, 7 3/4. 7 3/4, and score that. So we have 1 1/2, 3, 5 1/2, and 7 3/4. What we're going to do is fold this first piece here back. So we're going to fold it back this way, and we're going to give it a very, very firm burnish. This card, because it's got enough folds in it, moves around a little bit, and you want to get this really close. So we're going to do some accordion style folds at this point. So we're going to fold the other one the opposite direction here. Then we're going to go back to a fold that goes back this way. And again, I'm burnishing this quite aggressively here because I want this to sit down. And then the last one, I'm going to open this up, is back towards the opposite direction. All right. So when we end up, we finish with this fold. So it's mountain, valley, mountain, valley. And lots of burnishing on this to make sure that it stays down at least as well as we can. Okay, so next we have our card base here. It's really a very simple card. It looks more complicated, but it's just the way the card folds that gives it that, and it really is a very easy card to make. So we're going to put some snail down on this piece and just lay that in on top of our card base, centering that the very best we can here in the middle of this card panel here. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to adhere our pieces, our designer series pieces, down here, and we're going to make this the birthday card. So this piece of designer series paper is going to go down here, and this is that lovely vellum out of that wonderful romance suite that you can just go ahead and put down all the snail you want. You can't see it once you put it on because of the pattern on the DSP. So we're going to set that down here. Straight would be good. Let's see if I can coax that over just a hair. Now, sort of. Okay. So there's that piece there. Then this piece is going to go on that panel. And like I said, I liked it better with more DSP, so I've cut two pieces for the smaller panels. So you could elect to do some stamping down this other panel here if you chose to, and that would be fine. It might be kind of interesting, actually. The way I've done it, I'm using the DSP here to go down on both of these panels, and my message is only on the inside. On these, you kind of want to try and match the cutting. Now you can cut these at 4 7/8 and then have the pattern just continue on. That would be very attractive. I didn't think about that until after I'd cut my pieces, and so I didn't do that. But that would make for a very pretty card as well. Okay, so this piece goes on this front panel. It's probably the most important one to get straight because it's the one that people see first. There we go. Okay, so there we've got our pieces, and as you see, I mean, it's really very simple. Now, on the decoration on the inside, what I did was I used from Best Birds, I'm so sad it's retiring, the Happy Birthday stamp, which is my favorite happy birthday in the world. And there it is, Happy Birthday. And I am using Blackberry Bliss ink, and I'm using Old Olive ink. But I'm going to do my stamping first for my happy birthday, and I'm going to set that right up here on the top edge of this little panel. Right there. And hopefully we get a good image. All right. And then I'm going to close this up because I've already put my stamps in the wrong place. You know, that's just the way it goes some days. Now I'm going to put my Old Olive, and you'll notice I don't have all of that stamp mounted on that block because I really only want these leaves down here towards the bottom. So I'm going to ink those up really well and grab my piece of scratch paper here, and I'm going to put those leaves kind of around my happy birthday here, right down here like this. There we go. And I've colored a little bit outside. I guess I put it down before I really put it down. So I will probably use my sand eraser to get some of those pieces off. And I'll do that off camera. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is this leaf comes from the Wonderful Romance stamp set. There's that leaf there, and I'm using this little tiny flower here so that it matches closely the designer series paper. So what I did was I took this little flower. Yep, see, there I go, putting it in the green ink. Got to get rid of the green ink and get back my Blackberry Bliss ink. I'll just kind of wipe that off. Get Blackberry Bliss back on there. Much better. Okay, and I thought I would just put some of these little flowers, and I'm purposely pushing down and kind of muddling that up a little bit because I'm going to color those in. And so having a few extra petals isn't going to hurt anything. All right, then I used my blender pen here and got a little bit of that ink on the edge of my blender pen and went in and filled in those flowers with the Blackberry Bliss. That way they match the paper. And I wanted good strong outlines on that. And there we go, kind of filling in all of those little spots. And then you just take your blender pen until it kind of runs clear. It doesn't matter if the edge of the blender pen is stained. You just don't want any of that color on there. Okay, so now I'm going to do away with the Blackberry Bliss. Having two stamp pads open today was just a real challenge for me. I don't know why. Anyway, so with this blender pen, this is one of the old ink pads, so I can get some ink in the lid, and I prefer that. So what I'm doing is I'm going to just color in these leaves a little bit, again, so that this branch and leaves matches the paper a bit. There we go. All right, and I'll keep working on these little spots down here until I have them pretty much gone. That is the basic part of the card. Now let me close this ink up before I have another mishap. And okay, so now again on the blender pen, you just keep wiping it until it runs clear. and then that's taken care of. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to set this whole card right here on the center of this Blackberry Bliss panel. And I'm going to do that with some snail. I'm actually putting quite a bit of snail on this because this card is liable to be opened and closed a couple times, and I want to make sure that it doesn't travel anywhere. Okay, so now we're going to, while this panel will not be centered on this, this whole panel will be. So what we're going to do is set this down, perhaps on the grid paper here, it might help to see. It looks like about there. There we go. Nicely done. Okay, so there we are, and we have our lovely happy birthday on the inside. Again, like I say, I will keep working on these little pieces here. These sand erasers are just amazing. They can take a complete smudge out and leave you with your work saved. And so there's the card ready to go. Now we have just left to make the belly band. And I have, let's see, my pieces here. I've got these two pieces, and this is my 9-inch strip. And this has to go around the card here. And what I decided to do on this was to just finger press this one in place, because it's hard to score it exactly right because of the layers, which pushes this up a little bit. So finger pressing this to the back, and then finger pressing this one to go around and meet this one on the back is probably going to be exactly right. And you know we don't want this so tight that it makes it hard to get it off of the card. So it does need to move a little here. And so now what we can do is take a little bit of snail on the edge of one side here and fold this over so that it's a little loose, but even with the front and the other piece. So here we've got a nice belly band, and that should go around our card pretty easily, go on and off easily, and there we go. It slides up and down, and it's not so tight that we can't have any trouble with it. Okay, then I have two pieces of Blackberry Bliss, one to go on the front and one to go on the back. And the one on the back will also serve to help hold this together. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some snail on both of those pieces and get those centered on my piece of belly band here. Very small margin top to bottom, and a little bit more of a margin side to side. So there we go. And then we're going to put this one on the front, and that should help hold our belly band together. And again, across here, not putting it down very hard until I'm pretty sure it's centered. And then there we go. Now we've got a belly band with the same colors on it as the background of the card. And see, that one is just so much more substantial than this one. So I like that a lot better. Okay, so the next thing is I'm using the Pretty Label Punch, And I have, you see I was experimenting here where to put my greeting here. And for this one, since it's happy birthday, I used from Tropical Chic, You Are the Greatest, because I thought that worked really well with this label as far as placement is concerned. And just got to figure out where it can go that it won't interfere with what's already on the paper. And for that I need my Blackberry Bliss ink here. And I think this spot right here is going to work. So I'm going to ink up my stamp really, really well because this fades on this paper, and make sure that my words don't interfere with any of the purple flowers. And go ahead and put that down. There we go. And then using my punch to get that, and it's going to capture some of the flowers, and I think that's pretty good. Centering that on here. There we go. All right, then I need a couple of pieces of the, now that piece of white that we cut away. So what I'm going to do is put this little label on my white label here and match that up the very best I can. All right. And as long as the back of this piece is good, I was worried that we would get, once the belly band was on, that's part of the reason I made it a little bit wider, is that you saw too much of it behind this. And so I'm going to raise this on dimensionals. And then center this, You Are the Greatest. On my card. And there we go. Now, I did not put any bling on this, and I really decided after looking at it that I wanted to do that. So I've got some rhinestones here that I'm going to put on this card, and I think it'll just dress it up a little. So I'm going to put some of the larger ones on either side of the belly band here. And then I'm going to spread a few, well, maybe I'll use the smaller ones here and put them in the middle of a couple of these flowers. And they don't have to be in the middle of the flowers. They can be any place on the card. But it just felt to me like it needed just a little pick-me-up. And so I'm going to set a few of them around. That might be enough, so that there's really one on each of the panels. And I'm going to do the same thing to this one. There we go. That's the project for today. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it, and I do think I like it better with the larger belly band. And let me bring back this other version. The only thing you have to do here that's different is you put some ribbon either all the way across or tack it down on either side, and then bring this ribbon across underneath your sentiment here and tie a bow, or at least a fancy knot. Let me just tie a knot on this one now. Okay, so I've got a knot and I can reliably duplicate that again. So I'm just going to cut these ribbons off here, and so you can see the 3 different versions here. And actually, for all the fuss of the ribbon, it really is just as easy to do the belly band. And I think you've got a very pretty card. And so there we go. All right, my price for the month of May is the 9-block set, clear blocks for mounting your stamps. And so I keep showing different ones, but all of the ones I used today are part of the set. Everything from the smallest one to one that's actually quite large and will hold one of the largest of our stamps. And so that's a $71 or $2 value in the catalog. And the other thing is the limited time offer that's available. All is Rosy. Mine is coming in the mail, and then I'm going to do a 10-card sample out of that suite when I get it. And let's see, oh, the paper share. I am doing a paper share this month. You have to sign up on my blog. You have to send me an email. The details are on my blog. The paper share is $49 and includes, it's all of the designer series paper and the colored vellum. And you can sign up right up to the 29th, I think it is. You'll have to check out on my blog, www.inkandingenuity.com, and there it will say exactly how to sign up. You send me an email saying how many shares you want and so on. And that's the only other announcement. And the drawing for the 9 blocks is you put an order in on my website that automatically enters you into the drawing. So that's it for me today. I'll be back soon with more cards, more projects, and more tips. Bye.